Guys, let's be real for a minute. I think that Elon Musk is trying to get Twitter for cheaper than the $44 billion than he initially offered. I'm going to take you through the timeline of the saga right now. And the saga continued today. January 31st, all of this started happening. We didn't know it, but Elon started very, very quietly acquiring shares of Twitter. Everybody knows that Elon is one of the most active Twitter users in the world. He has a ton of followers and he uses it. And he actually talks about how he's disappointed that more celebrities don't use it on a more frequent basis. March 14th, the public is unaware. Note that. He owns 5% of the company. March 24th, he puts a poll out that says, Twitter algorithm should be open source with a yes or no answer selection. The public is still unaware. And this is when he kind of, Elon, he was starting to troll. Then he starts tweeting, free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. Do you believe in Twitter's rigorously adherent to this principle? That was a little bit more of his trolling. Then it finally came out. It finally was publicly disclosed that Elon owns about 9% of the company. It was about 9.1% of the company. And that was on April 4th. And we saw Twitter skyrocket 27% that day. And this is when the total saga really, truly began. That's also when Tesla shares surged 5.5% as well. Tesla's a whole different story. Tesla it came crashing down at certain moments. It went soaring at certain moments. All different situations were happening. April 5th came out. The CEO of Twitter, Parag Agrawal, said that he wants Elon to join the Twitter board because he thinks that he is going to be an important role in building Twitter going forward. The very next day, the Twitter CEO says that he will not join the board. And what was the reason? The reason was because Elon wanted to buy more of the company. And there was a certain point where he could not own more than that 9.1% if he was a board member. So he elected not to stay. In that time frame, just between these 2 days, April 10th and April 12th, Tesla stock falls 15% in those days because shareholders are worried that Musk's focus will be on Twitter instead of Tesla. And if this guy isn't the ultimate troll, if somebody can go out there with $44 billion and just play, that's the real playground. Twitter stock is down 14% from the prior highs in this time when it said that Elon is not going to join the board. Then Elon goes in on April 14th and really, truly, he stuns the investing world, making the $41.4 billion cash deal. He said that he's going to unlock the full potential of Twitter and make it a privately held company. April 15th, do you guys remember the poison pill? The poison pill is a short provision that they can put out there and they can basically say, I'm going to use whole numbers. Let's say that there's 1,000 shares outstanding of a company and you have a person that's aggressively going in and he buys 150 of these shares and then he buys 160 of these shares and the number just keeps going up. Well, the company can do what's called a poison pill. They'll just add shares. Say they add another 1,000. So they have 2,000 shares. So now instead of the person owning 15% of the company, they'll drop it down to 7.5% of the company overall. So this is basically a poison pill. It's a short-term solution to try to stop somebody from acquiring tons and tons of shares. They did not do it. They were talking about doing it. April 21st, Musk lines up funding to finance the deal. Remember, a lot of his assets are tied up in Tesla. The majority of his assets are tied up in Tesla. Twitter agrees on the 25th to sell it for $44 billion to Elon Musk, all cash deal. That is when he started going out and getting people like Larry Ellison involved in investing in his company, etc. Twitter goes up 9% in 2 days. Musk ends up selling $8.5 billion worth of Tesla stock. And if you know today, he sold another $7 billion of Tesla stock. Why? Because he doesn't want to have to worry about liquidating when the time comes if all of this legal stuff does not work out for him and he's forced to buy the company. He said that he will reinstate President Trump's Twitter. That was a whole different saga that started to come out. Musk tweets that the deal is on hold due to the fake accounts. This is what really started all the legal battles, guys. This is the situation that we're in right now, and it is a total disaster that's happening. Elon Musk said that Twitter picked 100 as the sample size because that is what Twitter uses to calculate to find out that there is less than 5% of fake spam duplicate accounts on Twitter. He said at some point that he thought that there was 80% fake accounts on Twitter. Then he came out and said it was about 20%. He never cited any data, but both of those numbers did come out in his tweets at some point. Twitter calls Musk to tell him that he violated the NDA between them about the sample size and bots. Musk says the Twitter deal cannot move forward until he is given more information about the prevalence of spam and bots on the platform. June 6th, we're fast forwarding. Musk threatens legal action against Twitter, and he wants to breach the contract. Now remember, if Musk breaches the deal, he owes $1 billion. So Twitter takes legal action against Musk. They sue him in the Delaware court. Their lawyers said that they are going to make Musk either pay that $1 billion or close the deal. Twitter stock falls 16% in 2 days. So by July 10th, it was 16%. July 19th, judge rules that the lawsuit against Twitter should go for a 5-day trial in October. Now, this is important because what Elon wanted, he wanted to go into 2023. He wanted to go to 2023 because he wanted more time to gather more information on these bots, spam accounts, etc. And the judge said no. And the reason that the judge said no, they said there are a lot of Twitter users and more importantly, the Twitter investors that need to know. They got to have an answer here because this is just sending them all over the map. August 6th, this was just this past weekend, Saturday. Elon Musk challenged on Twitter the CEO of Twitter to a public debate about the number of bot accounts on the platform. He said the $44 billion deal will go through if he can confirm to me that the bot accounts and spam accounts are less than 5%. Twitter stock goes up 30% between July 12th and August 9th, and that is where we are sitting today. Now, with that also being said, this happened today. I talked about it a little bit before. Musk sells another 6.9, I said $7 billion of Tesla to avoid a fire sale going forward. So right now, he's having a lot of cash. We're going to find out in October. But if there are any updates to this story, you're going to get follow-up videos like this because I love it. If you guys want to know me, Paul, and Seth more, click this video right here. We had to answer some uncomfortable questions, see who pays the most money to charity. Catch you on the flippity flop.